O ko di ko edi ko ko on kin nine long Leonard Peltier yat bidi need o le who want man not kin it's in za ko yon da di no de ko be yani o de ko so does an be hezon o le ni tseno edi ko Could Hanan Zadol, Gaba Nine Zadol, Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa, Kay Howdy, could on the Dasa Ada, Nick Ain Lomban, the Dasa. What in now, they con, they Walia, what sa, Bill Gunner, by Washington, by Walia, A. Addison, Dow, Unikadit, Aunt A. Got in there about Jesus the end. No, they allow a by Kennison, a good answer, citizen, you're not citizen. Citizen ebe and it any an so ego kaigi sabe yat eho. A sari get up a how zi yat eho dot need ebe citizen nastlin ole e good ah. It and long so be needly in the hearts and the huddle de con. You can never can you talk head at the huddle you get ah. What's that that deals and it and long acorn. Out on it all, should die, Leonard, a could out, acorn, said as a night out, acorn, be nine la, nach. Now, yeah, they come in John Sanan case all this. It could out, go be hit out, be yat, be has on a slant all this. Could all you down, said this. Should hot the in you 18 job by the in his only said now, cause good out be his on a sling, be his on a sling, be his on a sling, be his on a sling. Who Mataki see armor relations.
Welcome, Judy. Go ahead, Mr. Lenny Foster.
Well, I just want to extend my gratitude, appreciation for this call here and to wish our relative, our brother Leonard Peltier the best of health, and to welcome him home to his Aboriginal territory, homeland. We miss him, we love him, and it's been a long, hard struggle, but through the support of many people, including the ad hoc committee here today, that the prayers have been answered and many prayers have been made. The ceremonies, sun dances, pipe ceremonies, sweat lodge ceremonies, different meetings with the officials, including the President of the United States. Those efforts were made on your behalf, Leonard, and we prevailed and welcome home, and we love you. We miss you. We hope to all see you soon somewhere down the road, and welcome home. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Lenny Foster. You want to go clockwise from the top? Ward, would you like to say a few things?
Well, I've been speaking sometimes in behalf of and about Leonard Peltier since the very early 1980s. Yeah, that's one. Many words. And now the words have resulted in my being virtually speechless with gratitude for the outcome that should have been obtained clear back at the time of the trial. That farce, that travesty, that criminal conspiracy on the part of the United States, as I saw it then and see it now, I'm even more convinced. But Leonard Peltier is a part of my life. Leonard Peltier, I've been with, spoken about, thought about, even at times dreamed about, really for almost a full half century. And words cannot explain how I feel now that he is coming home to be with his people on his land, living his life as it should have been lived for all of these years. I always had a line that I delivered, irrespective of what I was talking about, which is that Leonard sat in a cage in whatever prison he happened to be in at the time I was speaking, not for anything anyone, including his prosecutors, believed he had done. And Lynn Crooks, who had made that argument in graphic detail down to the last words of one of the agents, something he could not possibly have known in his closing argument to the jury, admitting they did not know who had killed the agents, and saying he was in any case convicted of aiding and abetting. Now that takes us into complicated terrain in itself, but it does validate that point. No one, including Lynn Crooks, was prepared to say they knew he did. But now there's a mountain of people. Crooks' boss in the Justice Department, FBI agent out of Minneapolis who's been assigned to that case for years, Judge Haney from the 8th Circuit Court, and on, have all weighed in, saying that he should have been out. He should have been out at the time. He should have been out on the first appeal that FBI Director William Webster managed to prevent. He should have been out in the mid-'80s on the second appeal. He should have been out. He should have been out. He should have been out. He should have been out under the old rules under which the parole board is supposed to have been operating. We finally arrived, not to prove that the system works, but nonetheless, justice of a sort can prevail. Leonard, I embrace you with all my being. And when it's time, when it's clear, when you're settled and it's not the craziness of coming out after 50 years, I'll see you in Turtle Mountain. I'll see you in Turtle Mountain, brother. And the embrace becomes literal at that point. And I think that's all I have to say, because it's pretty much all I can say at the present time. Oh, I'm Doc Kelsey.
Thank you, Ward. Would you like to put Professor Natsu Saito? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to say welcome home, Leonard. I have just done small things over the years. I was honored to be on the committee back when Gina and Pat Benabe and Jennifer Harberry organized it initially in Lawrence, and to get to visit with you at Leavenworth. And that was really a tremendous honor for me. I don't expect you to remember it because you've had many, many visitors. But it has always been an honor for me to be able to speak and talk about your case. And I am so thrilled that you are soon going to be home. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for maintaining such a clear and principled stand over all of these years. You have made all of us very proud and helped all of us to advocate not only for you, but for the cause of Indigenous peoples everywhere. Thanks.
Thank you, Natsu. All I'm gonna say is you did it, dude. And Natsu said it. You have made all of us better people. And I'm not gonna say anymore because I can see Leonard sitting there going, "Are you crying?" And I don't want to do that, but you did it. And it's been an honor to work with you. Paul and Virginia Berg.
Thank you. It's an honor for us to be here and to be able to give our love to Leonard. One of the things that has been so inspiring about Leonard all these years is how he has conducted himself with dignity and bravery and never giving up hope. This is an inspiration to the country, to the young people, Native people, to people fighting for civil rights. And it's being recognized in the country. And I just think Nick Tilson probably said it the best, and I'd like to repeat his words. We are energized in the fight for Native rights, for human rights, by this victory, by Leonard's victory. We are thrilled that the thought, Leonard, that you are going to be among the people who love you and care for you and embraced by them. It gives us joy. This wound, this terrible wound that this nation has had, this won't heal it, but it's being cauterized. It's being cauterized right now, and you have done this. Thank you for being the person you are and what you have done and are doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Would you like to say anything, Virginia? Okay, okay, that's fine. Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Thank you very much. I am Amalia Shatel, and I'm the chair of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the Uhuru movement. And the first thing I would like to do is express my appreciation to Leonard for bringing me the company of these incredible, decent people who obviously have a firm belief in justice and liberation of the people. And I come to this meeting really appreciating Leonard, and as someone has said, the dignity with which he stood, because one of the major assaults that's being made on colonized people is one on our dignity. And this is something that's really offensive to colonizers, to see someone who has undergone all of the things that's associated with colonialism to be able to stand with dignity. I salute our relative Leonard, partially because I recognize that he has carried the weight for all of the indigenous peoples here and around the world. While they are charging Leonard Peltier with particular offenses against U.S. law, I am reminded of the fact that the colonizers make the law, but colonialism itself is illegitimate. And so when we talk about what Leonard laws he broke and how good or bad the system was in terms of its treatment of him, I think is really important for us and for the future to recognize that these are laws made by colonizers to justify colonialism. All of them are. And Leonard Peltier carried that weight. And they would have us think of Leonard Peltier as simply a single person. They would have us believe that we are simply looking at the case of this individual when it's the case of the indigenous peoples altogether. This is stolen land that we occupy. We're looking and living in a territory and a system that came into existence, the legal system, the court system, the prisons, the jails, everything that we're looking at, we're talking about came into existence on stolen indigenous land and stolen Black labor. These are the fundamental things that gave birth to this social system. And that's why when you look at the prison systems, you will see the vast majority of the people in these prisons, Africans and other colonized people. I've been told that this U.S. has the largest prison population in the world, and if you remove the colonized people from the prison, you'd reduce the number of people by 2/3. So that's a powerful statement. And I cannot come to this meeting pretending that I believe that whether Leonard Peltier was guilty, he may very well be guilty because the colonizers make the law. They're the ones that say what's guilty and what's not guilty. But colonialism is illegitimate. And I think it's really important for us to believe that because we have not yet escaped the grasp of colonialism. I remember the story of a man named Nat Turner, who in 1831 led a magnificent movement, a revolution attempt in the United States. And after Nat Turner was finally captured, he was tried. This is extraordinary. Here's an enslaved African person who was put on trial. And he was found guilty on the trial. And of course, his response was, I don't feel guilty. But the thing is that if Nat Turner had not been found guilty, would he have been free? And so Leonard Peltier comes from a prison, but he is no more free than he was when he went there. He went to prison because the indigenous people were not free. And I just think it's really important for us to remember that because when we struggle for Leonard Peltier, we struggle for all of the indigenous peoples, certainly in the Americas, but all colonized peoples elsewhere. And I am confident that an illegitimate system that's based on genocide and colonialism cannot prevail. And I am here in this meeting because I am a part of a requirement for it not to prevail. I was looking at a picture just a week or so ago, and it was a picture of people in San Francisco marching and demanding the freedom of Leonard Peltier. And I'm reminded of this by the comments made by Ward, who brings us always such a profound message. And I was really moved by what he had to say just now. But I was looking at this picture, and when he was talking, it reminded me of a picture I was looking at just the other day, a demonstration in San Francisco. I think it was at the courthouse. And it was something like 37 years ago. And my granddaughter was somebody who was marching to free Leonard Peltier. And that's what Leonard has done for us. You know, when I say he's done this for us, he's helped us to struggle against oppression. And we could not have done it if he hadn't taken a stand. If Leonard didn't take a stand, if he had simply capitulated to the system, we wouldn't be here today having this discussion. It's the fact that he did, that he resisted and continues to resist. And so I just wanted to make that statement and to say that we have to be opposed to oppression. And we have to be opposed to colonialism, because colonialism is the foundation of this entire system. You cannot even imagine the existence of capitalism without thinking about this land that we occupy now. This land was not something that was bestowed on the colonizers. It was ripped from the colonized people, and the horrors, you know, the horrors. I mean, and especially Ward, who's written books about the horrors that are committed against the indigenous people here and against the African people, because the fact of the matter is that colonialism requires incessant, vicious violence against those who are colonized. It's always there. It's never not there. It's always there. Every aspect of our lives are affected by violence that's imposed on us. So I want to just thank everybody here. And I'm sure that if I could, I'd be there upon Leonard's release. But because I was imprisoned, I was jailed for working against colonialism and charged with being a Russian agent. And this is absolutely necessary for them to come with these charges like this, because the colonizer, the logic of the colonizer, of colonialism, the ideology is that the colonizer does what he does for us. Is doing it for us. He's doing it to help us. This is something, this is the white man's burden that has been assumed. Don't want to do it, but they have this abundance, this surplus of Christianity and goodness that they have to bestow on the world. And this is the logic that we are affected with. Everybody, it permeates the entire consciousness and social system here. But the system is the criminal and not Leonard. And I want to just say that Nat Turner was absolutely correct. And I sympathize so much with him. And I'm sure that Leonard does too, that he didn't feel guilty. I don't feel that Leonard Peltier is guilty. I know damn well I wasn't guilty. But the presumption has to be that the colonizer doesn't do something wrong. And if we say the colonizer did something wrong, it came from someplace else. The colonizer cannot admit to having committed a crime. And the problem they have is our presence is evidence of a crime that's been committed. Our very presence here is evidence of a crime that has been committed. So I want to just appreciate being able to be here with everybody. And please give my embrace to Leonard. And I would give it to him personally, except the colonial government has said that if I should have a relationship with Leonard, who is a convicted felon, and myself now a convicted felon, both of us convicted felons because we struggle against colonialism, then that they would put me back in a cage, just as Leonard now is trying to be extricated from a cage. Thank you so much, all of you, for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you and to speak on behalf of my beloved relative, Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you so much, Chairman. Julia Wright.
I'm so moved, and so maybe I would like to say a few things that Leonard taught us during the long years we spent trying to do something. There is one thing I remember. There are many things, but just one thing that Leonard wrote about that sticks in my mind. It's when he writes about being in the hole, and it's such a torture. He's losing the sense of his very self. And so he's afraid he's going to forget who he is, his name. So he looks for he finds a slip of toilet paper and he writes down his name. And he hides the paper under his thin bedding so that he can reach for it if he forgets who he is. And that's Leonard to us. Never forget your identity, because they're going to come to you from all sides and try to make you forget it. Your ancestral identity, your historical identity, your spiritual identity, who you are. This is what Leonard taught us. The other thing that strikes me as being so momentous in this moment is that Biden, unwittingly or wittingly, released a formidable force of nature on the world. And he released, with Leonard, a liberation movement, more than a liberation movement. And it reminds me of Mother Earth and her mega storms and her floods. Mother Nature is becoming a liberation movement against the corporate profiteers. And hand in hand, we're all working with Leonard, with Mother Nature, and That is powerful. And Leonard has taught us that. And why not a bit of levity since we're celebrating? I remember this is a nod to you, Chairman. My father used to say, we have our own special kind of laughter. Let's allow ourselves. So here's a little bit of laughter. The biographer of Mumia, whose name is uh, Todd Burrows, last September, let me find the information. Yeah, he had a very wonderful idea. He addressed Chat GPT in early September 2024. And he said to Chat GPT, can you write a song about Leonard Peltier in the style of Schoolhouse Rock? Use up-to-date information about his case. Here is Chat GPT's answer. Sure. Here's a Schoolhouse Rock style song about Leonard Peltier using simple language and a catchy educational tone to explain his story and ongoing case. So here are excerpts of the reply by a machine that is owned by the corporate world. Prepare yourselves. Quote, presidents have heard the plea, but still he's locked away. The world is watching closely, hoping for that day. When Leonard's finally free and we can celebrate that justice, truth, and fairness won't be too late. And this very wise machine concludes, it's time to take a stand. It's time to make it right for Leonard and for justice. Let's all unite. And a few days ago, the bot imitated this trend and went rogue in Israel, and Haaretz wrote that their own AI bots were going rogue and releasing pro-Palestine narratives. So what power has been unleashed? Are we going to harness it? I love it. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you.
Thank you. Leonard will love that. Leonard likes to laugh. And that is pretty hysterical. Alex Mathewson. You're muted, my friend. Lower left-hand corner.
Take two.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for having me. It's a real honor, Leonard, for me to be here among your friends here and other folks who have been fighting for many, many years, decades in many cases, for your freedom. I never met Leonard, as you know. I never met you, but you were a household name in my house for many, many years, is as far back as when I was a young child. My father first started researching in the spirit of Crazy Horse and traveling Indian country and telling the story of Leonard Peltier and the travesty of justice that happened that in that year, 1975 and 6. And so, like others on this call, I've always been so admiring of your dignity and grace, given the unbelievable injustice that you have faced and endured for 50 years. And I'm, of course, very proud of my father for having, finally agreed after being nudged by quite a few Native American friends of yours in the late 70s and early 80s to finally take this project on and be the one to write the definitive account of your false incarceration and the story of Wounded Knee and Oglala and Pine Ridge and so on. And of course, I've grown up always being extremely proud of my father for not just writing that book, but for forging a friendship with you. I've read many of the letters that you guys exchanged while you were in prison, and also for never giving up. My father, even long after the book was published, after it was taken off the shelf, after he and Viking were sued for some record sum of money, $49 million or something, which was then a record for a libel case. Despite all the thugs from the FBI and Governor Janklo's office who harassed him and Viking. And even after the book was republished, he never gave up fighting for you. And he talked to every single person he could who had any influence on any president. And he made himself a bit of a pest, as I'm sure you know. My dad was very much committed to liberal causes in general and very much committed to Native peoples. And so I'm sure more than once he annoyed some public official or celebrity or somebody who he thought might have a chance of getting word to the White House and seeing fit to secure your release. So what I thought would be kind of fun for you, Leonard, is to take a little bit of a trip back down memory lane. As you may be aware, I'm not sure Dawn has told you, but there is a biography of my father, Peter Matheson, coming out this fall in October called True Nature, The Pilgrimage of Peter Matheson. And it's very much the kind of through line is about his own spiritual quest. And that's why he was so interested in Buddhism and Native American religion and peoples and so on. And in that, there's a whole chapter devoted to you and to this In the Spirit of Crazy Horse and to that whole cause. And it was interesting to me as I was rereading that chapter, because I have a copy of the manuscript, to hear about how you and my father first came into contact. So I'll just read a short excerpt here, which will remind you of that time. That same month, Matheson sent his first letter to U.S. prisoner number 89637-132, also known as Tate Wiki-Kua, Wind Chases the Sun. Dear Leonard, I'm the writer who will be doing the book that is being planned to accompany the movie, and just thought I'd introduce myself and let you know that I'll do the best job I can. Meanwhile, I'm asking my publishers to send along copies of a couple of my earlier books so that you can get some sort of idea how my mind works, and also a couple of recent articles on transgression of Indian ground by big business and big government, the corporate state. Peltier replied with an enthusiastic greeting. He had just received the Snow Leopard, he wrote, and other inmates were lining up to borrow it because of all the positive reviews. Peltier then offered 3 warnings that hinted at how difficult the road ahead would be for Matheson. Peltier's own family members had trouble securing visitation rights at USP Marion. A journalist should prepare for a mighty struggle. Peltier couldn't share any contacts in writing because all the correspondence was screened. Naming names in the past had led to his associates being hassled by authorities. And third, Matheson should take an escort to interviews he conducted for the book because of my people's reluctance to speak to strangers. Strangers, Peltier implied, have a habit of turning out to be snitches. Having imparted that advice, he signed off his letter with a distinctive flourish. Take care. May the Great Spirit always protect you. In the Spirit of Crazy Horse, Leonard Peltier. Mm-hmm. And just kind of a final note, Leonard, I wanted to say, that you were railroaded into prison, a horrible and unjust fate that has cost you and your family 50 years of your life at its probable peak. And yet your unjust incarceration has, around the world, justly put the U.S. government on trial. And even though imprisoned, you have used your voice powerfully to call out the injustices perpetrated on all Native peoples. In that way, you are a hero not just to your people, and Indigenous peoples everywhere, but to all of us around the globe who hold sacred the human rights of all people. So, Leonard, I've never met you. I've heard so much about you. I admire you so deeply. And I hope once you've had a chance to get home, to rest, to be with your family, to regain your health, I very much hope there's an opportunity for us to meet in person and to embrace as the brothers that I know you and my father were. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Susie Bear, the producer of Warrior, Life of Leonard Peltier.
Thank you very much, Dawn. I wrote something down because I'm trying to keep it together. Welcome home, my friend. Oh God, I can't even keep it together. We first met in 1989 when I got a collect call from you from Leavenworth Penitentiary. I was 23 years old. You changed my life. I'm an activist to this day because of you. I'm honored to have been able to tell your story. I'm grateful to all the people who educated me about the American Indian movement and honoring the earth. I learned about federal injustices and became an advocate for you for my entire life. Your freedom is everything to me. When we met in 1990, we were given an hour to spend time to interview you. And I was told I could give you a hug at the beginning of the visit and at the end of the visit. We were eventually given 3 hours, and I got those embraces. And I can't wait to be able to give you a hug again. Your journey has been challenging and has taken you to this place. You are coming home, where you can accept the title of honored elder in the Native community. I can't wait to see what's next for you. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie Bear. I don't know if Jennifer is in a place where she can speak or not. I just sent her a message. And I want to thank Leonard for bringing me to all of you incredible people. I am so honored to be breathing in the same air as all of you and to fight alongside you. And the fight is not over. As many here have said, it's not over. It will continue. Would anyone like to add anything? Does anyone have a good joke? Leonard likes to laugh. Or even a bad joke.
I have a funny story.
Okay, tell your funny story.
I started making my film, Warrior, the Life of Leonard Peltier, because I read In the Spirit of Crazy Horse. But at that time, the book was being sued. So there were no book, you couldn't find it. It was taken out of libraries. You couldn't find it. But my roommate at the time was working at the copy shop at Columbia University, and her colleague had a copy of the book and was making photocopies of In the Spirit of Crazy Horse. So what I read was a Xerox with a photocopy that was huge. It was a huge, and he told me he had the blessing of Peter, and I think he made 500 of those books. And so that's the book I read that inspired my film. I think it's fun.
Thank you, Susie. Yeah, the lengths they have gone to and the lengths that we will go to get around them. It's been an honor, Leonard, it's been an honor speaking with all of you. Thank you all so much for being on this planet and being on this journey with us. Until next time. Free 'em all.
Free 'em all.
Free the land.
Oh.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Hello, Leonard. If things look different, it's not your imagination, my friend. We had a second Zoom to include people who couldn't show up on the first but wanted to honor you. Lenny Foster, do you want to honor us by opening with a prayer?
Thank you again. This for the whole group and all the listeners, and especially you, Leonard. We miss you and love you, and this prayer goes out to you. Kurobe jondole ashonda shathat yin long yin yut eight yin jopai yin hazoni ha sada na hokons. Sisna jenny chot to ko sleet bencha jet yin on a cleany bicado tohat as long ebe yanit el chor oben hit silo ben hit sketo. Edi kon koroe yanit etol benjanon tikeskin hat abiat and he nabiat and hit sats and biat a yadastik. Johanna eight again, Tradine ben Jonan Hanat Tidolis. Eddie Con Hinnine Lonely and Wen Lonely Yezin Lone, Leonard Peltier, A Butsetils and Butsetus and Etsetus and Yat El behind Lado Lexet Hardy and Long. A Conquedoyat El be Nana now Dastolis, A Conquedoanisco, Edicon Yat El de Con Hind Lado Lexet Hardy and Long. Det kan be in de ketsil be in ketskett och ha shada na hokons. En hik edan lo be nedni dolis without de kon Leonard Peltier. En hinna be det no be de snow de kon setters en at by in la de kon. Nabetsil en nabetsketto. En so no hanana dastolis hon de natsadolis. Without setters en iskadolis ha shada na hokons. Sysna jen short set do ko sleet the bench at the in on a shiny 8 bacado with up. So there's an ebe by hindlado les. By Nika hindlado on it for even out behes on a slino. Behes on a sling, behes on a sling, behes on a sling, behes on a sling. Who? Mataki, I see all my relations.
Walk in beauty.
Thank you. And that was for you too, Leonard. Like I said, it's been a long time. We miss you and we love you. I'm reminded of the time that we Sundance at Crow Dog's Paradise in August 1975. And we helped the Menominees up to Gresham, Wisconsin to take over the novitiate back in 1975. You and I were both there. And also the visits and the sweats, smoking the chanupa at Leavenworth, Lewisburg, many years. And their prayers have been answered. I want to say welcome home, many blessings, and I hope to see you somewhere down the road. If I don't see you again in Coleman, I'll make a special visit up to Turtle Mountain, Belcourt. So this prayer, I'm sure you recognize, I used in the sweat lodge ceremonies in USP Leavenworth and also USP Lewisburg. And we missed you. We love you. We stood with you all the way. And you make us very happy that you're free now. You're a free man, and we just want to see you and shake hands with you and smoke the chanupa with you. Thank you for being who you are, Leonard. You were an inspiration to all of us. You made us strong. It's been a long, hard, difficult road, but we prevailed. And I want to thank all the members of this committee and all the people that prayed and our prayers have been answered. Thank you, Kayla. Nosko. Diego. Citizen de Diado. Leonard Peltier, de Goda. In la Shatra, Ian. Ian, you 18 joke by Bindi Hawan, Zeno Hawana, Dot, Turtle Mountain Band, Chippewa, Kaya. Eud Ancha, Hostito Leonard. Thank you. Love you. Oh, Mataki Ase, all my relations.
Thank you, Lenny Foster. Leonard, your good friend Rose Styron would like to welcome you home.
Oh,
Oh, Leonard, I am just so happy that you're going to be going home at last. It's been many, many years, and I was right with Peter Matheson when he was planning to come out when we thought you were going to be freed decades and decades ago. And now it's Peter's son, Alex Matheson, who is with me and has helped in every way he can to get you out of prison, to get Biden to understand who you are and why you should be going home. And maybe one day I'll get out there to see you. I just am so, so proud of you and so loving from a distance, but I know you'll be happy at home, and maybe we can talk when you get there at some point. Lots of luck and lots of love. It's Rose.
Thank you, Rose. Why don't we go around clockwise? Chair Penny, would you like to welcome Leonard home?
Yes, thank you so much. And I am so honored to be on this event and having the honor of speaking to our leader, Leonard Peltier. And I really want to unite with the words of Lenny Foster and Rose Styron and Dawn. I appreciate you and Opium and just all the work that this committee has done. And I want to say Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom. And to just give my profound salute and welcome home to the courageous freedom fighter and Indigenous leader Leonard Peltier, and to all of you from this relentless and powerful defense team who I've had the honor to meet through Hands Off Uhuru and work with over the past couple of years and get to know you. It's been a tremendous honor. Dawn and Jennifer and Opium and others. And I just want to salute this powerful victory that the struggle to free Leonard Peltier forced this colonial government to grant. And I salute my leadership, Chairman O'Malley Ishatella, who was on, I believe, on this program, this event, a couple of days ago. And who has been fighting back against an attack on the Uhuru movement by the FBI. And all during the time that he has been fighting for Hands Off Uhuru, he has kept out there the struggle of Leonard Peltier. And it has been very, very, very positive. My name is Penny Hess, and I am the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people who organize in the white communities for reparations to African people, to the Black community, under the leadership of Chairman O'Malley Shatella and the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. And I joined the Solidarity Committee in 1976, and that was right around the same time that this attack was coming down against Leonard and against the Lakota and the Indigenous people in that period. And I have been a member of the Solidarity Committee since that time. And, the chairman formed this with white people under their leadership to understand that the principles of unity that we have are that this land belongs to the Indigenous people. It is stolen land, and that the wealth and prosperity of white people comes because of the enslavement of African people and the theft of their labor and freedom. And So that has been a very important part. And I say that this is how I understood in all these years the significance of Leonard Peltier. And I just wanted to also salute, by the way, revolutionary author Warren Churchill, who has written so much about the struggle of the indigenous people and has been something that's really been important in the work that I do around the whole irrefutable history of violence and genocide that has been waged against them. And, you know, I just wanted to say, because of the work that I do, Dawn and everybody that's here, I was looking back, you know, around our participation of this movement in the struggle around Leonard Peltier. And it's one of the earliest things. I was organizing in Brooklyn, New York in the early 80s when the period when the Uhuru movement was building the first international tribunal on reparations to African people in Brooklyn. And I was there. I was there at a large rally at UN Plaza. I guess that was about 1983 in support of Leonard Peltier when Peter Matheson was there. Somebody has mentioned him and spoke with him, and many leaders of the indigenous movement, the American Indian movement were there, and many people were there at that UN Plaza event. And I was also had the honor of being there in a massive rally on the steps of the federal building in San Francisco in the 1980s, where there were giant banners with the portrait of Leonard Peltier, and where a leading member of the Uhuru movement, the African People's Socialist Party, his name was Biko Lumumba, he's passed on, and he is no longer with us, but he is upheld by the Uhuru movement. And we have photographs of that. And that is just so much a part of the history of the work that the Uhuru movement has done. And I just would say really quickly that I am one of the Uhuru Three that has come under attack of completely false attack by the FBI with brutal raids against 7 properties and homes of the Uhuru movement, an attack on Chairman Omali Yeshitela, my comrade Jesse Neville, and myself. And that we did win an important victory in December 2024, proving that Chairman Omali Yeshitela works for Black people. They said they're trying to say he works for Russians, which is absolutely insane. And they wanted to put him in prison for that for 15 years. But he has spent his life fighting colonialism, injustice, and liberation for African, Indigenous, and Palestinian people and all oppressed, colonized people everywhere. So I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be on what we call the forward side of history. The Indigenous people will be free. African people here and around the world will be free. And as we can see, the Palestinian people are fighting and proving daily that they're winning their freedom and self-determination. So I'm proud to be on the winning side. I'm proud to be on your side under the leadership of African and Indigenous people. The world will be free. Thank you, and Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, Penny. Thank you. Opium Sabah, would you like to welcome Leonard home?
I would. Thank you, Dawn. And big respect, love, and gratitude to everyone who is on this meeting and everyone who's been part of the ad hoc committee. It's really been a big pleasure and an honor working with all of you and being part of this committee. And still planning and moving forward to continue to do the work of this committee. And Leonard, wow, I'm still in a bit of disbelief that this is finally happening for you. As I said, it's been a real honor working on your committee and working for and with you. You've taught so many generations of natives and non-natives and just like-minded people and revolutionaries and forward-thinking people what it means to stand strong to your beliefs and your words and to stand up for your people. So I really commend you and thank you for that. When I first joined the Jericho movement many years ago, probably 10 or so years ago, a big part of me joining was knowing that they were one of the political prisoners that you were one of the political prisoners that they helped. So that was, that was a big inspiration to me to know that I would be part of helping fight for your freedom. When I was a young child, probably 10 or so, I still remember going to powwows with my mother and father and my grandmother in Florida. And I remember seeing the Aimsters and seeing them pass out the pamphlets about you and about your freedom. And I remember my parents really like sitting me down and teaching me about who you were and what you stood for and what you had done and were continuing to do for our people. So it's really an honor to be part of this committee and to be, to have been fighting for your freedom and standing behind you all these years. And I'm so very grateful that you will finally be coming home in just like less than a week from now. Um, I very much look forward to talking to you. Definitely want to bring you up to date on the album, which I've been working a lot on. The new single is called The Culture, which will be coming out on February 18th, the day you come home. And the album should be ready to come out later this year. And yeah, on behalf of me, my family, the whole Jericho movement, the ad hoc committee, and all of your supporters, welcome home, Leonard.
Thank you, Opium.
Thank you.
Everything everyone has said has just been so profound. I am grateful to all of you. And Isaac, who is on your committee, Leonard, and has the Indigenous Nightmare Network. Is that correct, Isaac?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wanna welcome him?
I first want to start off by saying, welcome home, Leonard. Uh, for as far as I can remember, I've been told about your resistance, being an indigenous Californian, uh, knowing my history, knowing the settler colonialism that has been inflicted onto our people. I always made it a mission, even before joining this committee, uh, to make sure that your name was never uh, thrown in the mud, uh, was never silenced, sorry, um, was never forgotten, at least on my part. Um, to be a part of this committee is something that I myself never would have ever thought of, and to even be put in a position uh, of consideration, I take it as an honor. I take it as a badge of honor. As someone I'm 27 years old, I'm the youngest person on the screen, and this means so much to me. I right now I'm trying not to be emotional because yeah. Um it means a lot. It means a lot. And I know I speak for millions of indigenous people, is that this is one of many victories um that we will continue to win. We will continue to fight. We will continue to say uhuru. We will continue to put ourselves in a position to fight back against this system. And so I'm built up upon many emotions, but I'm just happy that you're home. I'm happy that you get to what settlers like to call grounding, but what natives like to call just being on our damn land. Um, you get to do that. You get to smell the cedar. Um, you get to burn the sage. You get to do what you want. And I'm just happy that you're free. But I know that the mission continues, the fight continues. And so I know that you'll be there standing in solidarity with those that are fighting for the likes of Mumia Abu Jamal, the likes of Imam Jamil Al-Amin, and never letting people not know who Imam Khalifa, also known as Marcellus Williams, was, and every political prisoner that didn't have the chance that you've been given. So I just say thank you to the people who put me on this committee. It's an honor. Opium, Lenny Foster, Ward Churchill, Don, um, Kalanji, Tracker. And I know I'm missing some names, so I do apologize. It just means a lot. This is a moment where I'm just blown away. It's still kind of hard to believe because we live under an imperialist system um, that doesn't care. Just to keep it very simple. I know it's not dialectical, so I apologize. But yeah, I'm just blown away, and I just want to send love, prayers, and when I can get the chance, to meet you, I'm gonna have a couple slices of strawberry cake waiting, for both of us, because that seems to be both of our, I think it's your favorite cake. I know it's my favorite cake. So we're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat that, and I said, that would happen. I speaking that into existence, and so I'm blown away. And I just thank everybody on screen. From the bottom of my heart, Leonard, I'm glad that you're free. And I hope that, you remain free. And it's just an honor. So enjoy your life. Enjoy your freedom. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Isaac. And Leonard, I know you'll like, I get to be on my own damn land. Tracker, who I have the honor of considering a sister in spirit, would you like to welcome Leonard home?
Washte, Yate, Abini. Yes, thank you, Don. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here and to hold this sacred space for him. And Don, I want to say thank you to you. The tireless years that you have also behind the scenes have put into this. And we recognize that. And all the other people who can't even say welcome home to Leonard. There's thousands of people who have stood beside him that he has not even met yet. And we know this, Leonard, because we were able to meet people, and also the ones that said that they've known you for years, and we're just so hopeful and inspired to take a picture with your flag, let alone you, and just inspired to also sign the petition. It's been years and years of not only your own activism, but you being able to be there to support us. Because at the same time you were doing time, all of us were doing time. And there's thousands of people, just thousands, that we need to acknowledge here today. But I wanted to take some time also to say welcome home. And, we look forward to the new chapter and all the great things ahead. And more than that, after 50 years, your return is not just a homecoming, it's a reconnection of spirit, the land, and the community. And I know that there's a million ancestors that walk with you and walk with all of us. And so that reconnection to that spirit world that you can also visit now, rather than just the physical world, will help you and also heal you. And we know that the community spirit that's behind you right now, they're working together in unity and solidarity on your behalf, in your name. So I just wanted to say that as you connect to the community as a spiritual leader, your wisdom, strength, and your guidance will always be with the people. And to take your time to just breathe and be present, because whatever behind happened, that needs to be in the collective thought of how you can move forward. And that's the most important at this time. There's a lot of people saying your name, and there's a lot of people praying for you. And we just thank you for being that strong warrior. And we know that you could have bent and fold and buckled at any time when you could have gotten pardon. And we know that. And so we just thank you for being that stronghold warrior for us and for all the people. There has been a lot of things that have banners and flags and petitions that raise your name. But most important now is you. You get to say your name, and you get to put your feet upon the Earth's grandmother once again, where your connection was when you were born, and so through the healing that you take place, we will still continue to pray for the new chapter in your life, and we support that new chapter in your life. And just as you know now, they're doing the tribal lands, and it's defined by the freedom, and that's the trend right now as we speak. They're doing trust lands and 3 fee lands boundaries for the Native Indigenous people, and treaty lands and unceded lands and federal state public lands and historical hunting gathering lands. And what they're doing is bringing that back, the bison and the buffalo, right now as we speak. So there's many things that are happening right now as you exit those doors of the penitentiary. And when you exit, as you will know in the spirit, you'll just hear something just click and change in that spirit world, because you'll begin your new life walking through that corridor. So thank you again. And I just wanted to say that we support everything that you do. And I wanted to say that the American Indian movement is alive, breathing, and that collectively we have begun to really honor the original vision of the American Indian movement and the values of the Indigenous First Nations and the communities. The vision led by the true AIM Indigenous leaders, those rooted in the ancestral knowledge of cultural traditions and frontline advocacy of sovereignty and rights. So it has gone strong and it has changed. And I think that, this is a homecoming that is going to change and create leadership, stronger leadership for those who have advocated and believe in our system and our societies and our ceremonies, tradition, and heritage. And not to forget that we are living in the time of the prophecies. There are many prophecies that the First Nations hold. Wampum Belt prophecy, the Eagle and the Condor prophecy, the 5th fire, 7th fire prophecy, many prophecies. And at this time, as we speak, we are living in those prophecies. So all people will have to step forward and sharpen their spiritual swords so that they can move forward in the knowledge that we have to stand up and rise up together as people of all nations and all color. And these race wars will not deter us. And so these prophecies we live in are saying your name. We are the ambassadors of the Indigenous sovereign flag, which is an unofficial flag, but it is registered with the United Nations. Myself, I hold a flag in honor of all people, all nations. And why it's registered as an unofficial flag with the United Nations is because it does not belong to any political entity. So this flag represents you and honors you. And it is flown. It will be there when you are released. And anyway, that's what I want to say right now. And thank you so much. And aho mitakuyasin yate. Gona.
Thank you so much, Tracker. Leonard, you mean everything to your people, to everybody here, to hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Now you get to mean everything to you. To just be you and take the time to breathe. Lenny Foster, would you close us out with a prayer for Leonard?
Thank you again. Of all the good words, the support, the respect. Would like to acknowledge one person that's not here with us today, and I know she wanted to be part of it. Dr. Jihan Elbisi, Astanas Bob. I only wish you would have been part of this because I know she did a lot of work like many people behind the scenes. And I just want to acknowledge her. And there are others too. Maybe at some point others can be invited. So I just have that thought here, Leonard, that a lot of people did some uh, praying and fasting and going to ceremonies and were very supportive of your struggle and you honor us. So I'd like to just mention that person you. She wants to meet you, Dr. Jehan LBC. Um, those are people who have worked very hard behind the scenes. Ecuador ye beyanit et ashon de shathat yen land yen yut et yen jokbait yen hazoni ha shada na hokos sisna jeni tot zefto ko slid bensa zet yen on sini becado tohadas land et de kombe chol ben het zile ben het sketo ben jonon si case in kenahat abiat en hi nabiat en het sat zambiat Kudo Leonard Peltier, Batsatil, and what in non adequate Bakenits and adequate Dien, Yen Yot, Equal Combeck, baby, kind, Indla, Ekea, how not Dato, the Nones, Tadilson, Edel Leonard Peltier, when he hasn't long, they behind Law, Turtle Mountain Banner, Chippewa, Bekea, how Bekea, and Data also. De sa gut out de kon sa be ha out sig de out sko gut out de has on a street or le ha schon es trat in long ja sa be ha out sig gut out en get si lo le ben get ha jean do le e kon Leonard Peltier gut out ne yina bedit no ne kein long a sho ba in la Mchanatsa, Ebahenitsen, would Abe has all little behes on a sling, behes on a sling, behes on a sling, behes on a sling. Oh, Matakiasi, all my relations.
Walk in beauty. Thank you, Lenny Foster. And Leonard, I sent you a picture of Jihan and the ceremony she did in the snow for you. And you make a good point, Lenny. We're going to have to do this again with some more people, but I am deeply grateful to all of you and my gratitude for Leonard. There's no words. There just are no words. You are who you are. You are incapable of not being Leonard, which is why they held on to you for so long. And I just have so much admiration for you and for everyone here. Everyone here. You know, it took all of us, the world standing up saying, we will not stand for this any longer. Does anyone have anything they would like to add? Okay, we'll just close it out. Welcome home, Leonard.
Oh, good.
Welcome.
Hello, Leonard. I know we keep changing up on you with different people in the Hollywood squares, but we have a few more people that want to welcome you home. Lenny Foster, would you do us a favor of opening with a prayer?
Thank you. Just bear with me as I make this blessing. We pray for Leonard Peltier and all of us that are present and those that are going to be viewing this. Behezant oles Croatian de Shatrat, in Lant, in Yot 18 joke ways, in a zoni ha, shada, na hokmos. Sisna Jenny Chot Zelto Cosly, the Benza, Zeltian on Oslini, Becado Tortas, Lon, Edico Dalbe, Yanit, Eto, Benjamin, Seek case. Niganata Beat and he, Nabiat and Hitsat, and Beat, Yatakis, Johanna, H, and Tradine, Benjamin, Hanat, Hindolis. I don't. Det kon ikke wait how long they kon ikke. And you can allocate the also. Dit citizen Bailiad ole, die kon Leonard Peltier, en kinna die could aangaan, inlaan dat dacht ik nooit, want zit ze nog, die na die kon ja, nee, ook wat sa, die bij geen iets zijn. Die kon welcome home, die no, Leonard Peltier, we missed you, we love you, glad to have you home in all of Indian country. Is pleased that our prayers have been answered. De kon, zet ze niet bij ja niet eto de, ado de kon kodo, also be hezon do le, be hezon a stlin do le, zet ze niet ja do, ik zit hard in lang. Ha, shada ana konsto kon kodo, also be hezon a stlin, be hezon a stlin, be hezon a stlin, be hezon a stlin. Who, all my relations.
Walking beauty.
Leonard Peltier.
Thank you, Mr. Minnie Foster. We've got a couple of people that are kind of running. Cyrus, would you like to open it up and welcome your grandfather home?
Sure. I would like to say congratulations to my grandfather, Leonard Peltier, and this side of the family over here in North Dakota. We're very excited for him to come home and finally do all the things. I've been going into the prison to visit him since I was 8 years old, and we just been having dreams and plans. Now we finally get to, succeed with some of those plans, and I just can't wait. I love you very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cyrus, and thank you for having your grandfather's back. And Leonard's doctor is here, Dr. Renee Morrissey, and I know that he is extremely busy. So, Renee, Joel, would you like to say a few words to Leonard?
Leonard, I love you so much. I can't thank you for letting me be part of your life and everyone who's helped you. I'm so excited for you. I'm not through with you. I hope you're not through with me. I'm here to support you at home. Hopefully I'll get to see you at home, but I'm so proud of you. I'm so inspired. And I, again, thank you for just including me in your life.
Thank you, Dr. Morrissey, and thank you for everything you have done for Leonard. Why don't we just go around counterclockwise? Morningstar Glee, what do you have to say to Leonard?
Shemi Sunwi, Morningstar Gali, Atagechi, Maajumawi Ischi. Greetings, Leonard, and welcome home. We are so happy that our prayers have been answered. It was 45 years ago that I was born at the Aim for Freedom Survival School, which was known as the Oakland AIM House. My entire life, my parents, used to interview you for their radio program, my mom's radio program called Living on Indian Time on KPFA. I would speak to you as a little child, and, you would ask how school was going, and just lots of really encouraging messages shared. My children are from ages 11 to 21 years old. It was just the best moment to be able to wake my children up and to say that you were coming home, that you are going to be free and back in your homelands. And so it just really shows the power of prayer and the power of dedication that so many times we were, told that this wasn't going to happen. And here we are in a moment. And back home in my tribe in Pitt River, we were fighting for the dam removals with our relatives, with our Yurok, Karuk, and all of our relatives that are able to bring those 4 dams down. And so this was the fight in the 1970s. It was on the fishing rights. It was, for protection of our sacred places of Medicine Lake. It was, so many things that are happening in this moment. And so we now have all 4 dams down on the Klamath River. We now have protection of our sacred place of Satitla, our traditional Medicine Lake Highlands. Over 232,000 acres are now protected. That was signed just a week before the incredible news that you will be arriving home. I'm currently in Deneta. I'm helping some young people that are organizing against uranium mining transport. So Navajo Nation was forced into a deal to accept with energy with the energy transport companies to transport uranium from Pinyon Plain Mine. And so here we are. And I know that that was an issue that back in the 1970s, to today, that we're still fighting against uranium mining. We still acknowledge, how deep this issue affects us in terms of these national sacrifice areas. So 45 years later, here have dedicated my life to this work, still continuing it. It's a big part of my children's lives. And I'll just stop there and just say, as our struggle continues, we are so happy to be able to celebrate a moment that we are all able to share in, from our ancestors to our future generations, that will be able to rejoice in this moment.
Thank you so much, Morningstar. Dr. Jihan Albisi.
Thank you, Don. It's a very incredible honor to be here. It's almost like a dream, and so much to say. But firstly, Hanipi Washde, and thank you for being strong for all of us. This unspeakable violence against your life is beyond my comprehension. I have been quite obsessed with your freedom for a very long time, beginning with I was initiated in sweat lodge and purification ceremonies by a Cree sun dancer, woman sun dancer in Leverett, Massachusetts in 1996. And she found me and brought me through this. And then I came to a class where I first saw Incident at Oglala, which from that moment I was kind of riveted on how could this possibly happen. And so later having dreams, I kept having dreams, so many dreams that you were free, that I literally saw you coming out of the prison. And so many people with a lot of experience with law would tell me, no, it's impossible. And I never felt that. And I never accepted that. And I put myself in many times in an awkward situation with people who were my mentors or people with more knowledge than me, telling me that this was not possible. And I'll just show you that. I don't know if you can see it, but I have to unplug this, that I've always seen you free. So this banner or panel that I painted has gone through different sequences, but it has been present in Nipotsan Mihoji temples where many monks chanted for your freedom. So I'm sort of carrying a welcome home message to you now from many of the monks of this tradition, which you may have met along the journey. And well, it might as well be now. Sorry for speaking so much and out of order, but on behalf of Nipotsan Mihoji Buddhist nuns and monks all over the world, with now over 80 peace pagodas built, they have steadfastly prayed for your freedom. And they supported me in any and all vigils that I organized or held in for your freedom. So I've promised to carry the prayer to you now. Nam Nam Um, just want to thank you so much. I feel so grateful to be part of a team that's 50 years long of a struggle and feel like I'm a part of a group of people that in the very last moments with seconds on the clock were able to make a difference. I know from the state of Massachusetts, the Mashpee Wampanoag Nation, the Leverett Peace Pagoda, Congressman Jim McGovern, Senator Comerford, and myself, and Professor Amilcar Shabazz of the University of Massachusetts, we all welcome you home. And we are here to continue to support you in your freedom as you are at home. I hope.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, John. Leonard, you mean the world to everybody. You have changed all of us for the better. And I hope that you know that. And I hope you get to mean the world for yourself right now. That you get some time to have a good life because you deserve every second of that good life. Lenny Foster, would you like to say a few more words?
thank you again. Yeah. Shania, Leonard, Shay, Hansen, Nana Statan, de Leavenworth, Trache Nail, citizen Nail, and Eba Henson. Kiane ein slant sat an ebas tropai da se che enwa editional wada na be hun slant don nensle ado head all the wada ba hensen do yego shikhat ete khanan nan khanenza ne kaya ho ke bandi dato yat I just want to say it's a real honor to have your friendship over these years since 1970 when we first met in the streets of Denver, Colorado. I remember I was a student at Fort Collins, Colorado, Colorado State, and we had opportunity to get acquainted, talk, and we talked about AIM. The Denver AIM chapter was developing. It was coming together under the late Vernon Belcourt, Wallace Black Elk, and Rod Skinnendorf, people like that. And just to think that we were part of that beginning. And also we were on security together in Cass Lake and Leech Lake, Minnesota for the hunting and the fishing rights struggle that the White Earth Anishinaabes were going through. And I remember you were one of the head security under Dennis Banks. That always made an impression on me. I always thought about that, and I held you in high regards. And I always thought that, now that's a warrior there, a real true warrior. And I was very honored to come and visit you in Leavenworth for all the sweat lodge ceremonies we did. We shared the laughter, the hard sweat ceremonies, the singing, the praying, the sweating together. To me, that's a real high honor that I can truly say that Leonard Peltier is my bro. And I'm glad you're free. It's emotional just talking about it. Leavenworth and Lewisburg. And again, we had the opportunity with all the bros that you mentored and that you counseled while you were locked up. And your chaplain, always wondering what we're talking about when we used to sit together by the sweat lodge and talk and laugh. And you know, and they were so curious as to what we were saying, talking about. And then you would say, let's just go inside the sweat. He can't come in there. So we did that. And finally, it caught up with me that the warden called me and told me that I'm no longer approved to sweat with Leonard Peltier. You know, it was in Coleman, Florida, but we still were able to visit in the visiting room and pray with you. Now we can come together at your home in Valcourt and Turtle Mountain and then smoke the chanupa. I know you had that real nice pipe, and then we can pray with that. So it's a real honor and a real privilege for me to share that and to really consider you my aim, bro. And by hens and dina Dios, dini doles. Aro te yat echo nishon dini doles. I just want to thank you again and welcome home back to your relatives, your grandkids, meet your I'm not sure if that's your son or your grandson, Cyrus. I've heard his name before. Uh, yeah, Cyrus. And it's a real privilege for me to have their presence in my life, Leonard. I'll never forget it. You take care, and I'll see you up in Turtle Mountain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lenny Foster. Leonard, I have a message from your friend John Soto from the Leonard Peltier support group way back when. Howdy, y'all. I would like to thank you for including me in this forum and welcoming Leonard home. I must confess I hadn't anticipated the outcome that came to pass on January 20th. As a matter of fact, I still find it hard to believe. On that Monday morning, I searched online for any news concerning Leonard. I knew that by noon, Biden would be out of office. At around 12:30, having spent most of the morning cursing Biden out, I received a phone call from Don with the good news. In the course of our conversation, I was fighting back the tears, which eventually came after we disconnected. I was floored by the news. As someone who had actively worked on Leonard's behalf in the late 70s and 80s, and have always stayed abreast of his situation over these long decades, I was indeed floored by the news of January 20th, 2025. There are events of import that can occur that get indelibly marked in people's memories. January 20th is definitely one of those days for me. I've been counting the days since January 20th, and now we are but 3 days away from what will be an auspicious occasion for people who still struggle to be free, who struggle for liberation. This is an important victory. We cannot place this victory in the hands of President Biden because that honor belongs solely to those who diligently worked over the years for Leonard. It is you, the people, who made this possible. All the credit belongs to you. Don't let the representatives of injustice own it. On a more somber note, I'm sorry Steve, Bobby, and JT aren't around to celebrate with us on this coming Tuesday. In closing, I would like to send my love and strength to this man who has sacrificed so much for all of us. Welcome home, my brother. Regards, John Soto. And I am truly honored to be amongst people who have struggled for the liberation of Leonard and all who are oppressed over all these years. I am truly honored. And I know that Cyrus made a heroic effort to be here, as did Dr. Morrissey. He's in the middle of a shift. Does anybody have any closing remarks? Okay, Leonard. we will all be talking to you at some point, some sooner rather than later. Doksha, my friend.
Oh,
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you
Nice,
all.
nice meeting all of you.
Thank you.
It was really good meeting all of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the work you do too, Morningstar.